Just days before his main event fight against Jailton Almeida, Derrick Lewis was arrested for driving his Lamborghini at 136 miles per hour in a 50 mile per hour zone. Derrick was charged with reckless driving.
UFC fighter who was doing 130 in a 50 is now facing charges for it here in Harris County. Court records say Derrick Lewis, claims Houston as his hometown, was driving 136 miles per hour in a 50 mile per hour zone on FM 2100 in a red Lamborghini. He allegedly passed a member of law enforcement while weaving in and out of traffic, making unsafe lane changes. He was given a $100 personal recognizance bond and was released from custody the same day as his arrest.
The fight between Derrick and Jailton appears to still be on. Derrick gave a statement on the situation at Media Day. Derrick said, "Nah, I don't even think that was me. That guy had hair. You seen the picture? I don't got no hair. That ain't me." Mark Raimondi reported moments ago that Derrick could be facing some jail time over this. The next court date for Derrick is December 27th. The maximum sentence, if he's convicted, is 30 days in jail and a $200 fine. Dan Hardy believes Dana White will now do everything in his power to prevent fighters from following in Francis Ngannou's footsteps. As you guys know, Francis stood his ground regarding negotiations with the UFC, which led to Francis vacating his heavyweight title, signing to the PFL, and a boxing match with Tyson Fury. Hardy says that is going to give other fighters the confidence that they can do the same. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Hardy said, "We got the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor thing, and that was a one-off. I do feel like the UFC in particular, like Dana, as a boxing fan. I think he was just intrigued by that because he felt Conor was something quite special, and he may be able to just do something. As well as obviously they made a bunch of cash out of it. If you look at somebody like Sean O'Malley or John Jones, he doesn't want to take that risk. You remember when he took Chuck Liddell over to Pride and Rampage Jackson beat him up? That kind of burned him, I feel. He's been very, very reluctant to risk beating his toys and other people's promotions. I think he's going to do everything he can to stop people from doing it. I think now people are going to have the courage and confidence to see Ngannou go into free agency, recognize that maybe the grass is potentially greener elsewhere. The money is certainly greener elsewhere, I could tell you that. We'll see a few more people working their way out of their contracts. Sean O'Malley wants to step into boxing. There are other fighters like Sean Strickland. He's made a fan out of me in his performance against Israel Adesanya, and I know in the boxing world he's very unorthodox and very difficult to deal with. I would absolutely put him in there against some of those guys and watch him mix it up. There's definitely scope for other fighters to cross over. Francis Ngannou is still unhappy over the judges and the illegal elbow that Tyson Fury landed. Earlier today, Francis tweeted this. He wrote, "Last Saturday I was a lion fighting a pack of hyenas. Tyson Fury, the referee for allowing an illegal elbow, and the judges for their scorecards." He continued, "I watched the elbow video tens of times, and I don't understand why the referee didn't take a point from him." Joe Rogan also gave his thoughts on the judging for Francis versus Tyson. Joe says one of them should go to jail. On the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe said Francis Ngannou has never had a boxing match ever in his life, had 0 boxing matches, but he was the UFC heavyweight champion, knocked down Tyson Fury in the 3rd round, beat him up in the 8th round. Most people, including me, thought he should have won the decision, including most boxers, most boxing pundits. He lost by 1 point on one judge's scorecard. He won on one judge's scorecard, and another judge, who should go to jail, had it 96-93 for Tyson Fury, which is fucking outrageous. We thought Fury was going to run over him because he's the boxing heavyweight champion. There's no way this guy can box with me. He even said it at the beginning of the fight. It's time to go to school. And then Francis said at the end of the fight, "You're a shitty professor." Earlier this week, Garry claimed that Leon Edwards and his head coach told him to stop training at Team Renegade. Claimed that it was because Leon quote-unquote doesn't want any insecurities or doubts on his own mats. Called Leon weak-minded for not letting another contender train at the same gym. Today we have some updates on this story. Team Renegade released a statement on the matter. We also have more information regarding a gym that Ian was kicked out of back in 2021. Starting with Team Renegade's response to Ian, they gave a statement to The Independent. It reads, "Sometimes the coaches allow fighters to come in from the outside, but this is very much a privilege and not the norm. If the coaches feel it's not adding to the team's culture, a fighter is refused entrance. Garry's more nomadic approach to preparation has given him great results, but it's not in line with what we are creating at Team Renegade. This has nothing to do with one specific fighter or specific coach." Now onto the other gym that Ian was kicked out of. Shout out to Red Pill MMA for finding this tweet. He made a detailed video on this whole situation that will be linked in the description. So this tweet is from Team KF back in 2021. This took place when Ian was the current welterweight Cage Warriors champion. It reads, "This past week, Team KF has stayed silent out of respect for the Cage Warriors promotion, to minimize any disruption to the fantastic fights that they promote, and also not to interfere with the welterweight title bout on Fight Week. We now want to take the opportunity to set the record straight on the back of some statements and some insinuations from the current welterweight champion and his manager. Team KF adheres to set the ethics and values that are sacred above the needs of any one individual member. Some of the values that we openly promote are loyalty, honor, and respect, where an individual no longer abides by these rules and expects special privileges in regards to their contribution to the club. That individual will be informed that their position as a team member is untenable. No one individual is bigger than the overall welfare and safety of the team. With that in mind, Garry was informed he was no longer a member of the club after repeated warnings regarding his behavior to other teammates and his coaches. That had become distinct since employment of a new manager in March. After this appointment, he became uncoachable. This was not a decision that was taken lightly, as considerable time and resources were dedicated to Ian's training at a cost to the club, since he made his amateur debut a dozen fights ago, up until he attained his world title fight under the tutelage of his coaches. With the support of his teammate, Team KF is drawing a line under the matter. We will return our focus to training even more champions in the future and helping our members achieve their fitness and martial arts goals. Red Pill MMA also found an interview with Ian from right around when this happened. Ian is questioned about what happened with him and the team, and Ian's wife quickly intervenes. Ian appears very hesitant to answer the questions.
With that said, I suppose this is a tough question, but it needs to be asked. There's been lots of rumors going around about you and the team, and about you possibly having left the team. What is your what have you to say about that? And everyone is talking about it. It's, as you said, like, everyone is talking. You haven't said a word yet. Well, now's your opportunity. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to interrupt 1 second.
I know. I suppose you've heard some stuff yet, but
we know Chris Fields' booming voice. We hear it every time. There's a Team KF guy fighting. What will it be like for you to not have that in the corner and not have that voice with you?
It's something again. I know. It's something that I've been.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Darren Till being frustrated with his current financial situation. The first one's from Janny890. It says, Till is going out so sad. Crazy how far he's fallen. The second one's from Heath Robinson. It says, Darren Till's downfall is one of the worst I've seen. I hope he can make a comeback. The final one says, Darren Till's situation is exactly what Sean Strickland was referring to. There's no real money in fighting unless you get to the very top. And what's the odds of that happening? Sean gave that father good advice. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.